Hi, everyone. Good morning and good afternoon to all of those who have signed in to the Adrenalin Thought Leadership webinar. I hope you're all well and staying safe. And I hope all your families are doing well in these trying times. And so this is the 7th edition of Adrenalin Thought Leadership webinar, where we strive to have open conversation within the HR community about everything HR. We talk about everything that's imperative to organizations. And today we have a very special topic. It's all about transforming your organization's human capital management or HCM through technology. So if you are part of an organization that is looking to go digital, or if you're looking to transform the HR of your organization, then you're at the right spot. So to speak or to have the conversation with me on this topic, we have with us Ms. Charu Kunwar. She is the head HR of Lighthouse Canton. Hi, Charu. How are you?
Hi, Zarella, and good morning and good afternoon, everybody. I'm doing fine. I hope you all are doing well and staying safe as well.
Yeah, thanks, Charu. So, for those of you who don't know who Charu is, she is a seasoned HR leader with proven expertise in HR consulting, talent and leadership development, and business HR. So, as the head HR of Lighthouse Canton, which is an asset and wealth management company, Charu has been greatly responsible for making the organization the employer of choice. So before we dive into the conversation, I want to give a quick, a list of takeaways that you might get away from this conversation. So we will be discussing about how HR technology is an enabler of business in post-COVID times. You know, how to digitalize, and now that we're all working from home, what are the challenges? How can we address those challenges? And how to enable people's strategy. Now that's becoming the important conversation in the HR world. We'll be touching upon that. And employee engagement is something that's very important now that we are not huddled together in one office. We're all working from remote locations. How can you address employee engagement? And also, if you are an organization that's taken over, you have recently acquired a HR tech solution, how is the journey going to be? How is that going to be a big transformation for your organization? So without further ado, Charu, let's begin our conversation. So
Sure.
first, just with us, the context of your business, like what are in your industry, what are the key people challenges that you face? And prior to implementing Adrenalin solutions, what are the challenges that you had faced, problems,
Sure, Israela. Let me just begin by telling you a little bit about what we do and the context of our business. Lighthouse Canton is an asset and wealth management firm with headquarters in Singapore. We have offices across Singapore, India, and Dubai. Our wealth management business serves ultra high net worth families across their investments, tax planning, and philanthropic need. And in our asset management business, we have a strong portfolio of hedge funds, private equity, etc. So the company is about a little over 5 years old. And, when the company was set up, the key focus of the founders was to basically set up the core of the business. HR was an ancillary function being led by the founders, which was essentially basically recruitment, which is getting the right team on board and providing basic services to employees such as payroll. However, as the company grew over the years, about 2 years back, we set up like a formal HR function for the organization. And as the business grew, and now of course we have a full HR framework, and we support all our employees through the entire employee life cycle. So that's the context of the company or the business that we are with respect to Lighthouse Canton. Now let me tell you a little bit about the industry and the region that we work in. I would possibly not call these as challenges, but the context of human capital that we work with on a day-to-day basis. The first
Right.
one being banking and financial services industry, a highly regulated industry. So it is very pertinent for HR leaders, human capital leaders to understand the regulatory requirement from a people perspective and maintain all of that. So that's an important imperative for HR professionals in our industry. Second,
Right.
specific to the region, I work out of Singapore. We are a multicultural workforce. We have people from all over the world. We have, local Singaporeans. We have people from Malaysia, Indonesia, India, and a lot of Europeans. So there is a multicultural workforce that we have. So it is very important for us to always keep our focus on inclusion and diversity. The practices should be such that it includes all people from all over the world. So that's an important imperative. Another important imperative, which I think most HR leaders or the entire HR fraternity has to deal with right now, is the multi-generational workforce, that we have in all our organizations. Um, we have Gen X, which is in their 40s, looking to grow, achieve the zenith of their career, at the same time who value stability, respect. And we have millennials who are young, who are agile, entrepreneurial, who value use of technology and look forward to flexibility. So again, managing this entire spectrum of workforce is an important aspect of managing today's human resources. Also,
Right.
what we have to deal with in a day-to-day basis is to develop or build a dependable leadership pipeline. This is becoming increasingly important in today's environment. So that is also something that we work upon, how to nurture middle management to take on leadership positions in the future, identify potential leaders in the senior ranks of the organization, and build them to be successful CEOs, CXOs in the future. Very specific to the financial services industry, another aspect that we face is the skills gap. We have a lot of people who have the knowledge of the domain, but with the increasing focus on technology, we need financial experts who are technocrats as well. So this is the skills gap that we have to bridge. So again, here the focus of capability development and learning and development is paramount. So that's as
Right.
far as Azarella, the industry is concerned, or the region that we work in is concerned. Specifically to our organization, the things that I was looking, or we were looking to resolve with the implementation of technology or an HR management system. One very, very basic thing, when you are a startup and then you start to grow, employee record maintenance becomes a very important aspect, right?
Right.
So when we started off with 4 or 5 employees and then grew on to a large number. And at a point we realized that we have to have a system which is a single source for all employee records. That's an important thing. The other important thing is looking at technology um, to enhance our onboarding experience for the employees. Not make it paper based and tacky, but make it very systematic. So these were a few things that we were looking to improve upon with the implementation of technology. The other thing is recruitment. You know, to be
Right.
able to track the kind of profiles you are getting, where are they in the process. Maybe we would want to keep them for a future reference. So how we can manage that using technology so it becomes less administrative on the HR team side. So that was one more thing. Last and not the least, one very important aspect that we wanted to improve upon was the whole goal setting, performance management to capability development process. You know,
Oh.
they they, instead of these three sitting as three disjointed systems in an organization, as an organization, we wanted to use goal setting, then evaluating goals in performance, and then leading into capability development as a process. And also in the by doing so, help our employees understand how what they are supposed to perform, how their performance is progressing, and how the organization is invested in developing their capabilities. So, so I think these were the things that we were looking at, resolving or enhancing through HR technology implementation in our organization.
Nice. So, do you think technology has shifted the game for the HR team in your organization, and has it really enabled people strategy in your organization?
Yes, definitely. I would think so. And just for a little bit of how historically, I mean, rather than just talking about my organization, I'd like to talk a little bit about how historically the human resources function has been perceived in an organization as a back-end administrative function. But I
Yes.
think senior leaders in the industry have worked really hard to change this perception of HR not just being a back-end administrative function, but really enablers to business who are contributing to the business growth. So
Yes.
definitely I feel that technology is an enabler to that. It has greatly helped the HR leaders and HR teams to position their role from tactical to strategic. you know since HR technology takes care of a large part of the administrative stuff, such as tracking, collating, reporting, it relieves the HR team from the administrative burden, and therefore frees up their bandwidth to focus on strategic aspects of the organization. And in my experience, I've seen that a lot of HR leaders, because of their strategic inputs, have gone on to become HR leaders. So clearly, technology is an enabler. uh, like I said, it has helped reduce administrative burdens. It has improved the quality of service that an organization is able to provide to its employees. Whether it is something like as simple as checking the number of leaves an employee has or can avail, to historical promotion letters, salary slips, etc., which are available at the click of a button. And it provides real-time data which we can use very meaningfully. As organizations grow, they're in different regions, there are many functions we would know. What is the accurate head count, how many people we've added, what are the kind of promotions we've had, what is the attrition trend in a particular business, etc., 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 which is very meaningful information to have and to use for strategic purposes in an organization. So in a nutshell, I've technology has definitely upped the game for HR and helped the HR fraternity to be projected as a strategic business partner.
Right. Good. Nice. So before we go on to the next question, attendees, if you have any questions, in the middle of all these conversations, if you want maybe Charu to answer certain questions pertaining to examples, or how can a certain question of yours align to your organizations, any such thing, there is a question panel to your right. You can type in the questions and I will raise the questions so that she can answer. So you can do it throughout the course of this throughout this conversation, and we will take it up in the end. We have about 20 minutes in the end to answer the questions. So please keep them questions coming. So yes, so now that you've spoken about, people strategy and how important it is.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the impact of HR technology and the measures that you've taken and how it has helped your organization and improve your organization?
Yeah, sure. So, the implementation of an HR technology solution or the HR management solution or HR information management solution, as the different names that we call it, has actually helped us touch each and every aspect of the employee life cycle in the organization, right from hire to retire, and greatly enhanced the experience both for the employee. From an HR perspective, it has taken off the administrative burden, and from an organizational perspective, provided meaningful data and improved efficiency. And let me explain this with a few examples.
Yes.
It has greatly helped to enhance the new joiner experience. Earlier, a new joiner would walk into the organization. Uh, or let me just talk about the pre-joining experience. Right from the time that you give an offer letter, you can create the employer in the system, so it sends out triggers to you timely that on such and such date the employee is supposed to join. You make sure that everything is ready. The onboarding becomes very easy because it's a single touch, single sign on page where the employee will go on the joining date and upload all of his or her documents, provide all the information that is needed to in terms of address, bank accounts, joining details, details of dependents, etc. So in a nutshell, it helped us uh, improve the experience for the new joiner because it looks very savvy and very polished. And secondly, from an administrative point of view, something that took us about 2 to 3 days to complete, it could be completed in an hour through the efficiency that the system provided. So definitely, it was very efficient. It provided the new, happier new joiners, and provided us the data at a click of a button. If something was not completed, there were checks and balances put in the system to not complete the onboarding process, so we knew that this is pending, so in that way it helped us improve our compliance. Secondly, how it has improved is the analytics and reporting has improved. At the click of a button, we can get the headcount reports, the attrition reports, or any other reports that we may need for the organization, including employee details. So the access to information is very easy rather than what traditionally used to be that we have to go scramble the employee files or look at multiple sources of information to gather this information. So now we have a single true source of information that provides us report data at the click of a button. The third thing which has really helped improve is the engagement. A lot of people don't realize how technology can be an enabler in engagement now, because a lot of information can be hosted on the HR management system, uh, which could be announcements related to the organization, which could be some employee events, which could be policies, which could be celebrations. It provides access to everybody at the same time, and hence is a great enabler in engagement. Specifically, I'd like to call upon us very, very simple things as anniversaries and birthdays, because all that is captured on, on the system, and it throws out a trigger. It has been configured such that, people get, greetings on that day. The manager is made aware, rather than, keeping an Excel tracker where somebody has to go and check every month that is there something that we need to celebrate. So it's a great enabler to the team uh, to ensure that employees are engaged and happy.
Right.
Lastly, also, with the implementation of the learning management system, capturing learning history of employees, capturing the development needs of the employee, and how the employee has progressed based on the needs identified during the performance appraisal process. It just, makes it very easy to track. So all in all, what I'm trying to say is that, the technology enabler is a great asset to the HR function. to be able to systematically track, update, etc., all aspects of human capital management that we have, be it recruitment, be it new joiner, be it culture, be it engagement, be it payroll, be it benefits, and therefore it helps to project the function more strategically to the organization.
Okay. So, so far we've discussed about how HR technology has enabled the function in itself and your organization. So let's shift our focus to the customer, who is the employee themselves. So, what has been the response using such a HR technology by your employees?
Yeah, that's a very good question and a very pertinent question, Israela. So I would say overall, the implementation of the HR technology solution, the response has been very positive from the employee. However, my advice to all HR professionals or teams which are implementing a technology solution is that they should understand that whenever there is an implementation, wherever there is something new that is introduced, whenever there is a change, the basic human tendency is to resist the change, because everybody is very comfortable in the way their lives are going on. So when the initial reaction needs to be managed well. So here it is important that we do good stakeholder management. We communicate very clearly why are we doing this and what are the benefits of doing such things. Make them aware of how their lives are going to change with the implementation, and at each stage in the journey seek feedback, because that is very important. Because if your stakeholder management is not done appropriately, uh, it will lead to a lot of acceptance issues, because this is totally something new that you will implement, which employees are not used to. So they should see this as a welcome change rather than something that will complicate their lives further. So so I think that's what it is. I think once it's been implemented, the employees understand how easy it is to execute day-to-day tasks which require them to reach out to HR for each and every question or go to their manager. So lives has of course become simpler, but I think the expectation management or the stakeholder management with the employees is very important.
Right. So now that we've addressed both the organization and the employees. So let's talk a little bit about the journey towards this, towards attaining this sort of a result. In your journey of adopting technology, what is the one big lesson you've learned? And for all the HR community people who have logged in today, what is your advice to them? What's your advice to HR leaders who are going to engage in such a transformation exercise?
So, I think it's important for all of us to understand that HR transformation journey is a very crucial journey or exercise for any organization. Uh, with more and more focus on talent, where organizations are scrambling for talent, nobody can underestimate that such a transformation journey which impacts the most valued resource in an organization, which is the human capital. uh, it is important that it is implemented well, it is seamless, and again, like I said earlier, the management and the employee both understand the benefits of this exercise, rather than something which is going to make their life more complicated. So my advice to anybody who's implementing this transformation, the HR transformation with technology, is that it should be run just like a program, like a scientific program, just like we run any other project into the company, just like we run projects for our clients, right? it is important that we have a project charter. We scope out what are the different aspects of the transformation journey in the adoption of technology in the human resources that we are going to do. There should be a proper objective. There should be milestones with a proper project plan and roles and responsibilities. It is very important, again, to have a project committee, to have a project sponsor from the business who understands, why this exercise has been done, who reviews the progress from time to time, and understands if there are any challenges, can be the voice of the function, to the business. So it is, like I said, I can't emphasize this enough, that it should be run like a structured program. There should be a proper risk assessment. And last but not the least, it should be backed up by a robust communication plan. There should be regular communication, so much so that people start anticipating the communication. Could be weekly, could be once in 2 weeks, could be monthly. I mean, that is something we all can adjust based on the needs of our organization. But these are important things. Also, what all of us need to understand is that this transformation exercise is a journey. It is not something that can happen over a period of 1 to 2 months. Typically, in small to medium organizations, such a journey takes about 9 to 12 months, sometimes even more, if you have a dedicated team. And in bigger organizations, it can take even more time, because there are little bit nuances to the systems and the processes, the way we run, the way our onboarding works, the way our performance management work, what all requirements we have in recruitment. Payroll can be a very complicated process to transform using technology. So it is very, very important that we do it in a phased manner. I would not advise people, teams, to start doing it all at once, because then there will be a lot of confusion in tandem. It should always be decided which modules should be prioritized and then followed in a phased manner. Organizations with large HR teams can obviously, have the luxury of having recruitment team take care of the recruitment module, the benefits team take care of the compensation module, etc., etc. But we all know that teams are becoming smaller and our reliance on technology is increasing. So there it is very important that this is done in a very structured, phased manner with a robust project plan and communication plan. And that will be my advice to everyone.
So let's, we are living in an extraordinary situation right now. We're all confined to our living rooms and working from there, and our entire organization has it's become worldwide. Like, you can't just tell, okay, I am a company that's based out of Singapore. No, because you might have employees who are working out of anywhere, and there is this big shift. Like, we are constantly talking about this. So how do you see HR technology as an enabler of business or an organization in post-COVID times?
See, I think this year has been something that none of us anticipated when we started off 2020, right? Work from home was very prevalent earlier as well. I'm not saying that it was something new. Remote working was prevalent, in some organizations more than the other, right? However, uh, in the first quarter, or should I say the second quarter of this year, all of us were forced to work remotely because of the various circuit breakers, lockdown imposed in the various countries. And at that time, we realized the importance of having cloud-based technology made accessible to employees as well as the organization. There's no denying that technology is a great enabler, specifically in the realm of human resources, because a lot of things which maybe 2 to 3 years earlier people could not think, we've realized that, or maybe we did not even do. things like remote joining. Uh, I'll just give you an example. We had a few people joining us during the time of the lockdown during the COVID period, and we contemplated should we defer their joining. But the fact that we had an HR system which was already implemented, which was cloud based, and which could allow for employees to be onboarded from a remote location, was a great help. Our work was done seamlessly, employees were onboarded, um, and of course, we made sure that the necessary equipment that they require is shipped to them in time. So this is something that we realize that technology is a great enabler. Secondly, we could do all our learning. We did a compliance training during the times of COVID. We, of course, other than the HR technology, we used collaboration systems such as Microsoft Teams, WebEx, etc. But in combination, uh, it was very useful. It was not something that we had to wait for all employees to come back. Um, we were able to execute our employee town halls very seamlessly during this time. So all in all, technology, which is a mix of, human capital technology plus collaboration technology, uh, was very useful to all the organizations. And I know there's a lot of business leaders actually came out and said that due to the COVID situation that we all are in, uh, possibly 2 to 5 years of digital transformation or adoption we've done in the last 2 to 6 months, which is really true. And now this has kind of become the new normal. Lot of organizations are now asking their employees to work remotely for some time until the situation sets in. Also, since quite a few of us have worked remotely, uh, some of us who'd been working from office all the time realize that there are benefits of working remotely. So in such a situation, virtual collaboration, access to information virtually, uh, and all the benefits that cloud based HCM offers are very useful, because they allow the business as usual to progress without any hindrances. There is access to employee files. I'm sure organizations with a robust HRIS were able to do their mid-year performance appraisals. The salary slips were going on time and easily accessible by people. Town halls were held, recognition was held. So obviously, technology is a great enabler now and going forward to manage human resources.
A quick follow-up on what you just said. So, in your professional opinion, do you think now would be the right time for organizations to, adopt HR technology? Those who haven't so far, do you think now would be the right time so that by the time implementation and all of that happens and the world sort of becomes normal, uh, do you think this is the right time?
Yeah. Actually, I would think the right time is now. It should have been earlier if organizations haven't adopted, but I'm sure all organizations have their situations and reasons and phases. But I would say that given the situation we all are in, I think it becomes very pertinent for organizations to adopt HR technology, HR management systems, and to manage their employer life cycle right from joining to the different phases, including performance, payroll, compensation, recruitment, etc. Because it will ease the burden on the HR team from the administrative tasks that they are doing, or the gamut of information that they are grappling with in different sources. The fact that some of us will not be able to go to offices due to the restrictions, it an HR technology solution provides access to information at the click of a button. So it is very pertinent now that if organizations haven't made this investment, they do it now, or at least start thinking about it, because it's definitely going to make their lives very, very simple.
Attendees, if you were contemplating about taking an HR technology sometime in the near future, I think you have your answer. So yeah, moving on. Given the current times, many organizations are working towards providing, what you call the superior customer experience, for employees throughout the employee life cycle. It's not just recruitment, it's not just onboarding, it's throughout their entire life cycle. Do you think this is a focus area for, organizations today at large? And is this an effective lever for managing today's workforce?
Yes, definitely. I think we cannot undermine the importance of having a superior employee experience. We all know that in today's world, employees are the lifeblood of a company. They are not only the representation of our company to the external world of our values and culture, but companies who are known to have great employee experience are the ones who deliver stellar customer experiences. Happy employees do good work, which makes companies successful. So I think we cannot undermine the the importance of employee experience. So the goal, however, for organization should be to create an experience that demonstrates care for the employees, because it is very important for employees working in a company to feel cared for, to feel important. And this covers all aspects across culture, technology, the kind of workspace you provide to the employee, and starts, it does not start when you are an employee of the company. It starts right from when a potential candidate interfaces with your organization. What is the experience? If an employee, maybe a straight out of college student, and there are 3 organizations trying to get this potential candidate, the experience starts from right there. Where is it that the employee or the potential candidate is wowed and feels pride to be joining that organization? And it can be done by expression of care, through the various aspects of an organization that touch an employee. It could be in the form of capability development, it could be in the form of flexibility, it could be in the form of open and transparent culture, it could be in the form of stuff that makes employees happy, which is a good workspace. um, I know a lot of companies give a very compelling new joiner pack to the employee, which feels them very wanted in the organization. So so all these lead to employee engagement and leads to engaged and happier employees. And we all know that once we have happy and engaged employees, it brings value to the organizations. So there is no undermining to the fact that employee experience is key for success of the organization, or should I say a good employee
Right.
experience is key to the success of the organization.
So, to ensure that, the employee engagement goes from strength to strength in this very competitive business environment, what else do you think can be done for the employees?
Okay, so I just like to quote how Gallup defines engaged employees, and I'm going to read it a bit. It says, engaged employees are those who are involved in, enthusiastic about, and committed to their work and workplace, right? So the importance, like I was just saying in while I was answering the previous question, the importance of engaged employees cannot be denied. And we all know that good companies with high engagement rates have lower staff turnover, productivity of employees is higher, and therefore happier employees lead to good productive output, which leads to happier customers and therefore profits. So therefore, again, for the sake of repetition, the importance of engagement cannot be denied. However, I think a lot of time what we do is we tend to look at it uh, at a very minuscule level, and a lot of people think engagement is organizing office parties and doing events every Friday. I'm not saying they are not important. They are definitely important. But I think HR teams need to start thinking of engagement from a broader perspective. If we have to keep an employee happy, if we want to retain an employee, if we want to make the employee productive, think of what are the things which will keep the employee motivated and focus on them. So I'm going to touch upon a few things, especially in the current situation of COVID, where a lot of employees are working from home from long hours. Prioritizing health, specifically mental health, and the fact that companies care about their employees' health is a very important lever in employee engagement. I do know that a lot of organizations have provided medical counseling, health counseling. These are great tools, or maybe go to a person who you can chat with, etc. These are great levers of getting engagement, right? The other important one being flexibility, right? And that comes from the fact that you trust your employees. I do know that in the current situation, a lot of times employees have felt that we've been working for long hours at home. Do our managers even know that we are working that hard? Do they trust us enough to know that we are working very hard, or do they think that we are not working for all those 8-9 hours? I've actually known people who started at 8 a.m. and because they are at home, they're finishing their day at 10 p.m. So I think flexibility, trust, and empowerment, I think these are very good things. And that is why I say that, it is not just an HR team's job. It is the HR team's job to make people managers realize that these are important things in keeping teams engaged, right? The other one, very important, being timely recognition. If you see somebody has gone beyond the call of duty to deliver something which has brought success to the company, it is important to do recognition. It is important to recognize those. Very good engagement too, because if I as an employee feel valued and feel like I've contributed to the team, I will be engaged. I will be engaged to perform more, perform better, stay longer with the organization. Another one that relates to this is having an inclusive workplace and providing equal opportunity to all, right? Uh, Toxic work cultures is what we should, avoid, where there is territorial, managers are territorial, there are teams, there are sites being formed. These are things that we should avoid. Focus on an inclusive culture where everybody feels that they have a voice, they have an opportunity to speak, and they feel valued when they contribute. So this is again a very important lever in employee engagement. Uh, Another thing is the quality of work that we offer, right? It should not be so that all the challenging work projects is always offered to a select few. It should always be offered to everybody in the organization who exhibits the potential to take that on. Because quite a few of the employees join organization for the opportunity to learn, opportunity to grow themselves. So if an employee feels that they are continually being challenged and they learn new things, they will continue to be engaged and be with the organization. And lastly, I think it is very important to be mindful of the multi-generational workforce, something that I touched up right in the beginning, and design benefits that encompass all. It could be very creative stuff that take a break. You allow them to take a break during the day, like a half-an-hour break. Some companies, including ours, we announced a childcare benefit for all new parents because a lot of our millennial employee strength are just young parents, offer goodies. So these are feel good things that people enjoy from time to time. In a nutshell, again, employee engagement is of paramount importance, because engaged employees are happy employees who lead to the success of the organization. But we should not look at it engagement from a myopic perspective of thinking that we will do 4 or 5 events over 6 month period and employees will be engaged. For employees to be engaged, we need to have an open, transparent culture, trust in the employees, provide challenging work, and show to them that they are cared for, and then we'll be able to have an engaged workforce.
Oh, wow. Okay. Very, very rightly put. I think I'm constantly comparing what you just said with what I've been going through, working from home. And yes, we've been doing all of that, all those exercises to have the employee engaged, a lot of surveys to see how we feel, mental health talks, and where the whole family huddles to listen to doctors speak about COVID and why you shouldn't be too scared about it and what are the precautions you can take. And it's very, very well put. So that's all for questions from me. But we have
Yeah,
some questions coming in, so I'm gonna read them out to you.
sure.
Um, okay. So so we have Mr. Rahul. Uh, how an organization can decide regarding the kind of technology they need to deploy to manage HR functions, including performance review and capability development of employees. In most of the organization, HR function and employee engagement practices are the last milestone. So, yeah.
So, Rahul, if I understood you correctly, and you can clarify to Isabella in the panel, you're asking how do we prioritize the right HRIS tool uh, for for the kind of needs we have in the organization. Is that correct, Isabella? Have I understood it correctly?
Uh, yeah.
Yeah. So I think, like I said, and I'll go back to my point, that it is very important when we start an HR transformation journey in an organization. It is very important we to start from the very beginning, like I said, to have a project charter. And the first part of project charter is what is the goal of the project? What are we trying to do, right? And in that, I think, when you do brainstorming, etc., you will write down all the things that you need, all the aspects of HR function, and then decide which are priority. Like you said, engagement, and what was the other one, Isabella? He said that gets least priority.
Uh, it's employee engagement practices, and it takes the last milestone.
Yeah, it's the last milestone. See, I mean, each organization has their own specific needs with respect to employees, right? An organization which is currently in the growth phase and recruiting a lot of people might want to implement recruitment. Okay, but a stable organization which has a lot of employees and is not looking to hire too many of them, but an attrition is the concern, may want to focus on engagement. So I think it is important, and that's why I said, to have a sponsor from the management team to help you understand, what are the priorities of the business, and based on the priorities of the business, you decide which aspects of the HR function needs to be transformed first before the others. As that is as far as prioritizing what parts of HR needs to be transformed and when. Now, as far as the partner you choose is concerned, it can be a combination of multiple factors. It can be a combination of whether the partner offers the end-to-end suite of HCM offerings, which gives you the flexibility that maybe you're implementing 2 modules now, but at a later stage, you might want to implement 4 more. So maybe you implement the employee core and performance management at this point in time, but at a later date, you may want to implement compensation and benefits and recruitment, and the suite that you are buying or collaborating with offers you that flexibility, right? The other aspect is that you just want to implement one and you know you will never implement the other. Then you go for somebody who offers customization if you need customization, or somebody who has off the shelf. The other aspect is what kind of customer service do they offer. So these are pertinent questions that you have to ask. You know, after service, do they offer training? What is their customer service in terms of the fact that, you know, you may have a problem later stage, or they may not have a problem. Another important aspect that I would urge all our HR people while implementing transformation is to look at the user experience of the HCM that you are implementing. You know, sometimes they may offer you all the aspects of HR, but the experience is not good. Like the interface is very cumbersome. You have to have multiple clicks before you go something. So these are things that is very important that you should look at. And last but not the least, will also the commercial aspect of it is important. You know, I cannot undermine the importance of looking at whether it is within your budget or not, because there are a lot of fancy HCM available in the market today, but at the end of the day, the most expensive, the most flashy might not be what you're looking at. It might be the one that suits the need of your organization in terms of customer service, in terms of modules they are offering, in terms of cost that suits best to you.
Very well
I hope
answered.
that addresses it.
Yes, Rahul, I hope that answered your question. The next question is from Jenilyn. How has Adrenalin as a tool helped in the engagement of employees? It says post-COVID, but I doubt if we are post-COVID yet. But yeah, you can give us your thoughts.
Yeah, so I will tell you the aspects of employee engagement that Adrenalin has helped us with. And I think I touched upon this a little bit earlier as well. Since it's a single source of data, and it provides us the snapshot of anniversaries, celebrations, etc. So that is something, celebrations is something that it has really helped us support real time, and you know, not missing anything during the COVID times. We know, you know, the birthday, the anniversary, blah blah blah. That is one thing that it's helped us do. It gives us the option of employee announcements. So that is another important thing. So whenever we had something that we had to communicate to all employees, we posted it on the homepage of Adrenalin, and we were sure that everybody will be aware of it. So that is one thing. Again, it provides the facility for us to post our policies, etc., etc. So those are things which we've been using Adrenalin to keep abreast. I do something that we have not implemented yet, but I do know, and Isabella or maybe Amol may want to talk a little bit more about it, is the internal chat feature that you offer as a part of Adrenalin, where employees can talk to each other and engage with each other, something like a Facebook or a WhatsApp. Something we haven't implemented yet, but I do know that is something that can enhance the engagement of employees. So Isabella, would you want to talk a little bit about it, or maybe somebody else from your team could talk a bit about it?
We have something called the virtuals. We've renamed it Virtual Social Connect because that's how it's going to be from now on. We call it's more like a Facebook sort of an experience that you have, where you can where organizations can give out announcements, and if you have something to share, it basically works like Facebook, but it's only for the internal audience of your organization. So you can post anything you want to post. You can say, oh, so and so from my team has has delivered a baby girl, and then all wishes come pouring in, and then you have something about, okay, this is an interesting article that I found and I think it's pertinent for our organization, so I request you all to have a look at it, and then they post a link, basically what we do in Facebook. And then you have separate rooms that a HR admin can create, where maybe it could be for the entire organization group, or it can be if, say, your organization is spread out across the globe, or you want a particular piece of information to go only to, let's say, the Singapore office. So you create, a Lighthouse Canton, Singapore, and then you post information there, that like that. It goes like that. And then you can post videos and photos. So yeah, bottom line, it's like Facebook, but just for your organization. On top of that, we do have something called, the Sarah chatbot, which is again, it's a HR chatbot. So what it does is, particularly we found that particularly during working from home, it's helped out our clients a lot in terms that you can have it in your phone, and you just don't have to go log in to your tool to find out what it is. And if you're looking for a specific information, you don't have to go look for that particular form, or you just have to ask a question to this bot. We call it Sarah, and you just say like, hey Sarah, like, do you think I can take a leave next month? And then immediately what it does is it goes out to your profile. It checks how many leave you have, what kind of leaves do you have, and then if you've mentioned your purpose, like I want to take a day off because I just want a mental health day, and then it'll look for your casual leaves or your medical leaves or whatever, and it'll tell you actually you have so many leaves left, you can utilize one of it. Or you can say something like, Sarah, do I have any deadlines that I have to fill for the organization? Maybe the organization rolled out some sort of a questionnaire, or anything. You have a deadline for certain things, and you can ask like, do I have the deadlines? It'll list out saying that, okay, you haven't filled out this form and the deadline closes in another week, so you need to fill that out. So it'll list down stuff like that. So it's a very nice tool. It's very conversive. Like it acts like your Siri sometimes. You just have to ask questions. It's voice control, so you can ask questions and it'll answer. And the more we found that the more you utilize this chatbot, it starts learning your language, and it responds accordingly. It's really nice. If you have more questions on that, you can go check out myadrenalin.com, and you can look for Sarah chatbot. Another thing is, of course, mobile HCM, having your HCM in the palm of your hands. So it's an app again, and you don't have to go to your laptop to log in and find out details about it. You have your social connect in your phone. It's like Facebook app in your phone. You can do everything. You can do all your HR activities in your phone. For HR leaders, and if you're a manager, if you have something on recruitment, you're like, okay, when have I scheduled my next interview for this particular candidate? You can check in your phone. So everything comes in your phone. All your information that's stored, it's all in your phone. So you don't have to essentially use your laptop. You can use your phone. So HR on the go is how you do it. So these are a lot of things that Adrenalin as a tool we have for engagement. You have the survey module where HR managers can, HR leaders, they can just send out a survey to find out what's happening, and any changes they would employees would like in the organization. Any sort of survey, you can send it out, get your answers. You can conduct polls to find out what the employees are thinking, your inputs on certain issues. So yeah, we have a lot of employee engagement, tools that's embedded in the in the solution. So yeah, so give us a call if you're interested, and we can maybe take the conversation forward on that. The next question is, how should employees leverage HCM technology to their advantage in their professional growth?
Okay, from an employee perspective for professional growth, I think the most important aspect for employees will be the whole performance management and the learning management modules or systems, as they say, and what most HCMs offer, and we've implemented Adrenalin, and they also offer the opportunity of customization. But I'll talk about from an employee perspective. Right from the time that they set their goals on an HCM or on a system, to tracking their goals over a period of time, and each organization can have the unique way of the way they want their goals to be set. Some have OKR, which are more flexible and can be changed every quarter. Others have balanced scorecard which like go top down, right from a CEO's perspective to business leaders to each one of the employees. You track them, typically organizations track them biannually. Some organizations do real time, some do quarterly, but that depends on the organization. But from an employee perspective, it is important that the goal setting is done. You know exactly what your goals are to deliver to, and that is tracked. When your regular performance appraisals or discussions happen with your manager, you are able to identify how you performed against those goals. If you haven't done as per the requisite norms, what are the skills that you are lacking, or what are the skills that you need to develop to be able to deliver those goals? That is one aspect. The other aspect is, if you're looking at growing, if you're aspiring for a challenging role or a promotion, again, do a skill gap analysis with your manager in terms of what are the skills that you are required to go to the next level, right? Once those skills are identified, it is important. These are essentially the development needs. So once you have those development needs, it is important. And I do know that Adrenalin offers, and a lot of other HCM also offer. Once your skills are identified, you identify the capability development that is required. And it's important to understand that capability development is not always answered by a training. There is not a like to like comparison, that there will always be a training associated with the need that you would want to develop. The capability development can happen in a multitude of ways. It could be through mentoring team members, which, professional skills essentially get developed through that. Mentoring, coaching, it could be definitely through a certification or a training that you could take. It could be through a project-based assignment that you do. It could be through a short-term cross-team project that you do. So what I said is goals, to your performance, to the identification of development needs, to the creation of a development plan, as we call it. And development plan could be a combination of coaching, mentoring, experiences, self-learning, and class and traditional learning. And once you have that, and you do those, follow that through maybe a 6-month period or a 12-month period, and then come back and measure against your goal, that have you progressed from, say, if you were a meets expectation to an exceeds expectation, and how you have progressed, how that whole journey has been. So I think that's how employees can leverage, a technology based solution to track and measure their professional development or growth.
Right. Okay. We have Veena, who has asked us, was there a substantial ROI, return on investment, for the HR technology modules your organization implemented?
So if you would ask me, in terms of cash dollars, I mean, that is not something that we measured, because we realized that HR technology is the need for our hour, and it is a very pertinent investment that we need to make, right? So we made the investment. However, the return on investment, how we see it, it has taken a whole lot of administrative burden of the HR function. Not only the HR function, it has improved the efficiency of the organization as a whole, right? And helped us contribute towards strategic programs in the organization, and be a strategic partner to business, where a large part of the bandwidth was earlier focused on collating documents, uploading documents, verifying documents, etc., etc., etc. Now the focus is more, and let's take the example of performance management. It was more on tracking who has done, completed, not completed, uploaded goals, blah, blah, blah. Now it is more on the discussion of what is the quality of your goals, what is the succession pipeline, who are the next in line leaders that we need to develop. So overall, the ROI has been in definitely the way the HR function is now able to contribute to the organizational success, how organization overall has become a more strategic organization rather than a tactical organization. If you ask me in dollar terms, definitely, we would probably have one headcount or two headcount who would do this kind of manual work, which is all digitized. So obviously we save, that cost as well. Yeah.
All right. We are spilling over a little bit. Maybe we can take one more question. What do you do to gauge employee sentiment in these times? And how do you address the employee concerns raised?
What do we do to gauge employee sentiments? See, I'm a great proponent of, gauging employee sentiments by talking to them and understanding them. And I don't know, fortunately for us, since we are a financial services industry which comes under the essential services in Singapore, we are allowed to have a little more employee strength in the organization. So we've the overall employee strength, what should I say, the employee sentiment is gauged from the sentiment that we've observed of employees in their eagerness to come back to workplace. In our town halls, the kind of questions they are asking about wellness, about safety, security, etc. So these are indicators that we use to gauge employee sentiment in terms of how it is, rather than a polled survey where we will say how you're feeling, what is it that we can do better for you. It is always better. Also, another aspect would be, a lot of employees given these times are concerned about their jobs, about their roles, etc. So the kind of conversations we have, so these are the things that we are using. I think it is the management's role, it is the HR function's role to communicate openly, transparently, give regular business updates to the organization and to the employees so that they understand which stage we are in, exhibit care, and tell, and if everything is fine, let them know that everything is fine, right? I think it is important to dispel fear from the minds of employees at this point in time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I hope Charu addressed your answers. We have a few more questions. So what I'll do is I'll send it to Charu so that she can answer, and we will send the response back to you. If you have any more questions, if you're an organization that who's contemplating on taking a HR solution after this webinar, and you have a lot of questions, you can write to us. You can write to us. I can take the advice of Charu here as well. How it happened for Lighthouse Canton, and we will get back to you with the answers. So thank you very much, Charu. It's been really good having this conversation with you. It's answered a lot of questions. Particularly, in this COVID times, a lot of questions on HR tech. It's answered a lot of questions, and thank you for taking your time to be with us here today. I hope we get to have more conversations about the HR tech and HR community, and have open conversations in the future. And thank you attendees. You've been a wonderful audience for listening to us, and also sending in your questions. It shows that the depth of understanding this session, and also just clearing your doubts with us. And Adrenalin constantly conducts these the thought leadership webinar series. It's done once a month. So please watch out for more webinars. We always strive to have open conversations about HR tech, and the HR community. So thank you very much. Please stay safe.
Yeah, thanks, Isarella. I enjoyed the conversation. I hope the audience found it useful as well. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Charu. And thank you, everybody. Have a great day.